Have you ever sat back and just wondered who made that blue sky that we under? All the different type of voices of thunder, send the rain and the shade in the summer. Who think put the moon so high? In the day make the sun pass by. Understanding of the birds how they fly. All things seem to connect like Wi-Fi. Whoa, wait, stop drinking. Now it's time for you to start thinking. All praise the Most High, not Satan. Glory and honor to Him, so stop hating. When we connect the dots, you see clearly. Have the faith and search diligently. Through Him, all things to consistent with our Him, none of us would exist. What?
Made woman and man, and all the trees and land. I am that I am. Who place the sun and moon, and cause flowers to bloom. The great I am. If you think you can step up to His power, then get ready, cause you about to get the power. All things are in His hands, moving at His command. All powerful.
Without Him, none of us would exist. So praises to a higher name and so bliss. And if you took every God and wrote it down on a list, I don't know any God that's more greater than this. That's the first and the last. GPS your stress and direct your path. And I don't want to compare His words to Steve Nash, but it assists you, it keeps coming to pass. Which God will put His people on track after they disobeyed His words, turned their back and sent His Son to die so they could be intact? Cause when they went backwards on His word, they never went back. That was love, that was faith, that was patience. And that's the reason why we embrace Him. Oh, a higher, you so amazing. And these are the words that we sing when we praise Him. Praise Him.
Made woman and man, and all the trees and land. I am that I am. Who place the sun and moon, and cause flowers to bloom. The great I am. If you think you can step up to His power, then get ready, cause you about to get the power. All things are in His hands, moving at His command. All powerful.
When you look up in the sky, you ain't gotta wonder why it was made this way. It was all the Most High, and He sent His Son to die. Cause the kingdom is a prize, so just dry your eyes. Cause I know that sometimes it's hard to survive. Living this life where there is pain in your eyes, but you'll get salvation. Cause He made all creation, so He made us to survive.
Made woman and man, and all the trees and land. I am that I am. Who place the sun and moon, and cause flowers to bloom. The great I am. If you think you can step up to His power, then get ready, cause you about to get the power. All things are in His hands, moving at His command. All powerful. Made woman and man, and all the trees and land. I am that I am. Who place the sun and moon, and cause flowers to bloom. The great I am. If you think you can step up to His power, then get ready, cause you about to get the power. All things are in His hands, moving at His command. All powerful.
Shalom and Barakatham, peace and blessings. We are the Gathering of Christ Church, New York City, a family who adheres to the sacred laws of the earth administered to Christ down to his father's children of Israel, whom are scattered abroad. We would like to invite you to join us in our law classes, which are held every Sabbath beginning at 1 p.m. during the winter season and 2 p.m. during the summer season, under the tutelage of Regional Elder Gabar and leadership. Since nations are built on families, our focus is to awaken our people, bring them back to their original heritage which was once forgotten, and to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments, together as one under Christ. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one.
All right. Shabbat Shalom, family. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Let's give the Most High praise. All praises be to the Most High, Ahaya, in the name of his son Yeshaya, Rawchaa Quadash, for allowing us to see another Shabbat. How's everybody feeling? Blessed by the best, and his name is Khan. Shabbat Shalom again. Shabbat Shalom to all the brothers and sisters online streaming. We're going to get right into it. We're going to start right at the law. We're going to go to Exodus, the 20th chapter. We're going to start at Exodus 20 and 1. Exodus 20 and 1. And the Most High spake all these words, saying, I am the Most High thy power, which have brought thee out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Most High thy power, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me, and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Most High thy power in vain. For the Most High will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Most High thy power. In it thou shalt not do any work. Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Most High made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Most High blessed the Sabbath day, and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land, which the Most High thy power giveth thee. Thou shalt not murder. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Amen. You may all be seated. Once again, Shabbat Shalom, family. How's everybody doing? Praise the Most High. It was a long week, right? I missed you guys last week. I wasn't here in the building, but I was here in spirit. Con? All right, so we're gonna get right into it. Where we left off, Exodus 33, verse 4. So the baptized brothers, baptized brothers. There's only one chair here, so each brother. That's all right. Each brother just take 7 verses until completion. Exodus 33 and 1, right? 4, Salakia. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 33, verse 4. And when the people heard these evil tidings, they mourned, and no man did put on him his ornaments. For the Most High said unto Moses, say unto the children of Israel, ye are a stiff-necked people. I will come up into the midst of thee in a moment and consume thee. Therefore now put off thy ornaments from thee, that I may know what to do unto thee. And the children of Israel stripped themselves of their ornaments by the Mount Horeb. And Moses took the tabernacle and pitched it without the camp, afar off from the camp, and called it the tabernacle of the congregation. And it came to pass that every one which sought the Most High went out unto the tabernacle of the congregation, which was without the camp. Verse 8, and it came to pass, when Moses went out unto the tabernacle, that all the people rose up and stood every man at his tent door, and looked after Moses until he was gone into the tabernacle. Verse 9, and it came to pass, as Moses entered into the tabernacle, the cloudy pillar descended and stood at the door of the tabernacle, and the Most High talked with Moses. Verse 10 and last. And all the people saw the cloudy pillar, stand at the tabernacle door, and all the people rose up and worshipped, every man in his tent door. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, family. It's Brother Nazar, tribe of Levi, nation of Israel. I'll be reading Exodus 33 and 11. And the Most High spake unto Moses face to face, as a man speaketh unto his friend. And he turned again unto the camp, but his servant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, departed not out of the tabernacle. And Moses said unto the Most High, see, thou sayest unto me, bring up the people, and thou hast not let me know whom thou wilt send with me. Yet thou hast said, I know thee by name, and thou hast also found grace in my sight. Verse 13. And now therefore I pray thee, if I have found grace in thy sight, show me now thy way, that I may know thee, and I may find grace in thy sight, and consider that this nation is thy people. Verse 14. And he said, my presence shall go with thee, and I will give thee rest. And he said unto him, if thy presence go not with me, carry us not up hence. Verse 16. For wherein shall it be known here that I and thy people have found grace in thy sight? It is not in that thou goest with us. So shall we be separated, I and thy people, for all the people that are upon the face of the earth. Verse 17 and last. And the Most High said unto Moses, I will do this thing also that thou hast spoken, for thou hast found grace in my sight, and I know thee by name. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Officer Wildorf, And we're going to continue reading at Exodus 33, verse 18. And he said, I beseech thee, show me thy glory. And he said, I will make all my goodness pass before thee, and I will proclaim the name of the Most High before thee. And I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and I will show mercy on whom I will show mercy. And he said, Thou canst not see my face, for there shall no man see me and live. And the Most High said, Behold, there is a place by me, and thou shalt stand upon a rock. And it shall come to pass, while my glory passeth by, that I will put thee in a cliff of the rock, and I will cover thee with my hand while I pass by. And I will take away my hands, and thou shalt see my back parts, but my face shall not be seen. Continuing Exodus 34, verse 1. And the Lord said unto Moses, Hew thee 2 tables of stone, like unto the first, and I will write upon these tables the words that were in the first tables, which thou breakest. And be ready on the morning, and come up in the morning unto Mount Sinai, and present thyself unto me in the top of the mountain. And no man shall come up with thee, neither let any man be seen throughout the mount, neither let the flock of the herd feed before the mount. Verse 4 and last verse. And he hewed 2 tables of stone, like unto the first. And Moses rose up early in the morning, and went up unto the Mount Sinai, as the Lord had commanded him. And he took in his hands the 2 tables of stone. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. My name is Robert David, and this is the book of Exodus, chapter 34, verse 5. And the Most High descended in the cloud and stood with him there and proclaimed the name of the Most High. And the Most High passed by before him and proclaimed the Most High, the Lord God, merciful and gracious, long-suffering and abundant in goodness and truth, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, and that will by no means clear the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, and upon the children's children, unto the 3rd and to the 4th generation. Verse 8. And Moses made haste and bowed his head towards the earth and worshipped. And he said, If now I have found grace in thy sight, O Lord, let my power, I pray thee, go among us, for it is a stiff-necked people, and pardon our iniquity and our sin, and take us for thine inheritance. Verse 10. And he said, Behold, I make a covenant before all thy people. I will do marvels such as have not been done in all the earth, nor in any nation, and all the people among which thou art shall see the work of the Most High, for it is a terrible thing that I will do with thee. Verse 11. Observe thou that which I command thee this day. Behold, I drive out before thee the Amorite and the Canaanite and the Hittite and the Perizzite and the Hivite and the Jebusite. Verse 12. Take heed to thyself, lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land whither thou goest, lest it be for a snare in the midst of thee. Verse 13 and last. But ye shall destroy their altars, break their images, and cut down their groves. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. All praises to the Most High, in the name of His Son Yeshua and the Holy Spirit. Glory and credits be to Him on this great Sabbath day. My name is Brother Rawchaa from the tribe of Benjamin, nation of Israel, picking up in Exodus chapter 34, verse 14. For thou shalt worship no other God, for the Most High, whose name is jealous, is a jealous power. Lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they go a-whoring after their gods, and do sacrifice unto their gods, and one call thee, and thou eat of his sacrifice. Verse 16. And thou take of their daughters unto thy sons, and their daughters go a-whoring after their gods, and make thy sons go a-whoring after their gods. Thou shalt make thee no molten gods. The feast of unleavened bread shalt thou keep. 7 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread, as I commanded thee in the time of the month of Abib. For in the month of Abib thou camest out of Egypt. All that openeth the matrix is mine, and every firstling among thy cattle, whether ox or sheep, that is male. Verse 20 and last. But the firstling of a donkey thou shalt redeem with a lamb. And if thou redeem him not, then shalt thou break his neck. All the firstborns of thy sons thou shalt redeem, and none shall appear before me empty. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, family. Brother Craig from the tribe of Judah. I'm picking up at Exodus 34 and 21. 6 days thou shalt work, but on the seventh day thou shalt rest. In earning time and in harvest thou shalt rest. And thou shalt observe the feast of weeks, of the first fruits of wheat harvest, and the feast of ingathering of the year's ends. Thrice in the year shall all your men children appear before the Most High power, the power of Israel. For I will cast out the nations before thee, and enlarge thy borders, neither shall any man desire thy land. When thou shalt go up to appear before the Lord thy power, thrice in the year. Thou shalt not offer the blood of my sacrifices with leaven, neither shall the sacrifice of the feast of the Passover be left until the morning. The first of the first fruits of thy land thou shalt bring unto the house of the Most High thy power. Thou shalt not see the kid in his mother's milk. And the Lord said unto Moses, write these words, for after the tenor of these words I have made a covenant with thee and with Israel. Verse 28 and last. And he was there with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights. He did neither eat bread nor drink water. And he wrote upon the tables the words of the covenant, the 10 Commandments. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. Name is Taib. And I'll be continuing at Exodus chapter 34, verse 29 to 34. And it came to pass when Moses came down from the Mount Sinai with the 2 tables of testimonies in Moses' hand, when he came down from the mount, that Moses wist not that the skin of his face shone while he talked with him. And when Aaron and the children of Israel saw Moses, behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come nigh him. And Moses called unto them, and Aaron and all the rulers of the congregation returned unto him. And Moses talked with them. And afterwards all the children of Israel came nigh, and he gave them the commandments, all that the Lord had spoken with him in Mount Sinai. Till Moses had done speaking with them, he put a veil on his face. Verse 34 and last. But when Moses went in before the Lord to speak with him, he took off the veil until he came out. And he came out and spake unto the children of Israel that which he was commanded. Amen.
Shalom all. Peace and blessings to yourself and family. You be here, Exodus 34, starting at verse 35. And the children of Israel saw the face of Moses, that the skin of Moses' face shone, and Moses put the veil upon his face again until he went in to speak with him. Exodus 35 and 1. And Moses gathered all the congregation of the children of Israel together and said unto them, These are the words which the Lord has commanded that you should do them. 6 days shall work be done, but on the seventh day there shall be to you a holy day, a Sabbath of rest to the Lord. Whosoever doeth work therein shall be put to death. You shall kindle no fire throughout your habitation upon the Sabbath day. And Moses spake unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, This is the thing which the Lord commanded, saying, Take ye from among you an offering unto the Lord, whosoever is of willing heart, let him bring it, an offer of the Lord, gold and silver and brass, and blue and purple and scarlet and fine linen and goat hair. 7 and last. And ram skin dyed red, and badger skin and skitting wool. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, family. Y'all could do better. Shabbat Shalom, family. Shabbat Shalom. That's what I'm talking about. Brother Mike, Tribe of Judah, Nation of Israel, picking up Exodus 35 and 8. And oil for the light, and spices for anointing oil, and for the sweet incense, and onyx stones, and stones to be set for the ephod, and for the breastplate. And every wise-hearted among you shall come and make all that the Lord hath commanded, the tabernacle, his tent, and his covering, his taches, his bars, his pillars, and his sockets, the ark and the statues thereof, with the mercy seat, and the veil of the covering, the table and his staves, and all his vessels, and the showbread, the candlestick for the light, and his furniture, and his lamps with oil for his light. Amen.
All right, all right. So once again, Shabbat Shalom. All right, we're going to get ready for tonight's lesson by our brother and officer Waldorf, who's going to bring forth a powerful lesson. We're going to pray in. All right, everybody please rise and face the homeland while we utter our voices to the Most High. Everybody just repeat after me. Ahaya. Ashar Ahaya. Bahashem. Yeshaya. Rawchaa. Our Father, who are in heaven, holy is your name. Your kingdom come. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us of our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from all evil. For we know you are the kingdom, and to you goes the power, and to you is the glory, forever and never. Shammai Yasha Allah Ahaya Alahaya Nawa Ahaya Achad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, Ahaya 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 is one. Amen. All right, all right. Without any further ado, our brother and officer, Waldorf for tonight's lesson. Praise the Most High. Test.
All right, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. All praises to the Most High, Ahaya. Okay, so glad to be here with you all this evening on our Shabbat law class. And today we're going to be discussing, we're going to go into the law, all right? And we're going to try to make it a little more interactive. So I guess, you know, I want everybody to stay sharp, okay? And, you know, one of the reasons why I feel like we need to go back into the law is, you know, with summertime, we've been so bombarded with so many different things, so many temptations, you know. So sometimes we got to refresh our minds and understanding what is that we need to do, you know, continuously when it comes to the Most High, okay? It's staying in this book, staying in the law, all right? So the title of this lesson is called The Perfect Law, ? Now, all right, so I hope a lot of people could see this. If not, you know, stand up for a minute, all right? So what I did was I wrote down a few of the laws, okay, that we're going to go into, all right? Now, we know that we have four different kind of laws, categories, okay? Now, we know the greatest two commandments is what? All this heart and? Okay. Now, which scripture would we go to find that? I'll just write it down. You just got to tell me the scripture, the chapter, and the verse. Yes, when Christ.
Matthew 22 and 36.
All right, come on. Hold on. You said Matthew. I'm just going to abbreviate. You said Matthew. My Bible. Matthew what?
22 and 36.
Okay. 36. Good. We're getting started here. So we know those are the two greatest commandments that Yeshaya had mentioned that we need to follow. And underneath we have the 10 Commandments, okay? We also have the dietary law, we have ceremonial law, and we're going to go through some of the civil law, okay? But the civil law is very vast. So this evening, we're only going to be scratching the surface of the law, okay? And I want you guys to pay attention because we're going to go into Yeshaya later on, and we're going to match the laws that Yeshaya had mentioned with the laws that we have up here. Khan? All right, so we're going to go to the first one, right? We're going to go over the 10 Commandments a bit. Okay? We know the first commandment is no other gods, right? Before me, in Exodus 20. So, we're going to go into where we know no other gods, right? And then the second commandment is no graven images. Khan? Okay. Hold on. Now, under no graven images, we have sacrificing unto other gods, false prophets, and necromancy. Okay? So now, let's go into Exodus 22 and 20. Sacrificing unto other gods. When you there, say come. All right, let's go.
Okay. It's book of Exodus, chapter 20,
No, 20,
chapter 22, verse 20. Salakia. He that sacrificeth unto any god, save unto the Most High only, he shall be utterly destroyed.
He shall utterly be destroyed. Let's jump to Numbers 25, 1 through 4. Because we're going to be going to a lot of different verses. It's going to be a short lesson, but a lot of reading. So Numbers 25, 1 through 4.
Okay, it's the book of Numbers, chapter 25, verses 1 through 4. And Yasharallah abode in Shittim, and the people begun to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab. And they called the people unto the sacrifices of their gods. And the people did eat and bowed down to their gods. And Yasharallah joined himself unto Baal Peor, and the anger of the Most High was kindled against Yasharallah.
Okay, so the people started mixing themselves with the other nations, nation of Moab. Okay? So then they started following their gods and worshiping their gods. Go ahead.
And the Most High said unto Moses, take all the heads of the people and hang them up before the Most High against the sun, that the fierce anger of the Most High may be turned away from Yasharallah.
Okay, so the Most High said to what? Take the heads of Israel and hang them in front of the people. Okay, so we know sacrificing unto other God is a judgment of what? Death. Instantly. Okay? Let's go to false prophets. We're going to go into Deuteronomy 13, 1 through 10. Deuteronomy chapter 13, verse 1 through 10. Go ahead. If you're there, go ahead.
Read. Okay. It's book of Deuteronomy, chapter 13, verses 1 through 10. If there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and give thee a sign or a wonder, and a sign or that wonder come to pass, whereof he spake unto thee, saying, let us go after other gods, which thou hast not known, and let us serve them. Thou shalt not hearken unto the words of that prophet, or that dreamer of dreams. For the Lord, or the Most High your power, proveth you, to know whether you love the Most High your power with all your heart and with all your soul. Ye shall walk after the Most High your power, and fear him, and keep his commandments, and obey his voice. And ye shall serve him, and cleave unto him. And the prophet, or that dreamer of dreams, shall be put to death.
See that? So you follow another prophet, another person who's giving you a different doctrine. That person should be put to death. Go ahead, continue.
Because ye have spoken to turn you away from the Most High your power, which brought you out of the land of Egypt and redeemed you out of the house of bondage, to thrust thee out of the way which the Most High your power commanded thee to walk in. So shalt thou put the evil away from amidst of thee. If thy brother, the son of thy mother, or the son of thy daughter, or the wife of thy bosom, or thy friend, which is thine own soul, entice thee secretly, saying, Let us go and serve other gods, which thou hast not known, thou nor thy fathers, namely of the gods of the people which are round about you, nigh unto thee, or far off from thee, from one end of the earth, even unto the other end of the earth, thou shalt not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him, neither shall thine eyes pity him, neither shalt thou spare, neither shalt thou conceal him, but thou shalt surely kill him.
He said, thou shalt surely kill him. Don't let nobody swear you go serve other gods, other religions. Go ahead.
Thine hand shall be first upon him, to put him to death, and afterwards the hand of all the people. And thou shalt stone him with stones, that he die, because he hath sought to thrust thee away from the Most High thy power, which brought you out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage.
Okay, see that? More judgment of death for violating what? His commandments. Okay? Bear with me, I'm going somewhere with this. Okay? We're going to go into necromancing. Leviticus 20 and 27. The book of Leviticus 20 and verse 27. Go ahead, Doc.
Okay. It's the book of Leviticus, chapter 20, verse 27. A man also, or a woman, that have a familiar spirit, or that is a wizard, shall surely be put to death. They shall stone them with stones. Their blood shall be upon them.
Okay, so that's anybody who's into witchcraft, palm reading, wizardy, what you say?
Tarot cards.
What you call that? Card reading, okay? At that time, this is what the Most High said to put to death, okay? We know the third commandment, which is what? Don't use the Most High name in vain, okay? Blaspheming the Most High name. We're going to go into Leviticus 24, verse 10 to 16. Okay? If I'm moving too fast, let me know, because I want to make sure, you guys get a chance to write it down too. Leviticus 24, 10 to 16. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. It's book of Leviticus, chapter 24, verses 10 through 16. And the son of an Israelitish woman, whose father was an Egyptian, went out among the children of Yasharallah. And this son of the Israelitish woman and a man of Israel strove together in the camp. And the Israelitish woman's son blasphemed the name of the Most High.
So he blasphemed the name of the Most High. Okay? Unfortunately, his father was an Egyptian. Go ahead.
Blasphemed the name of the Most High and cursed. And they brought him unto Moses. And his mother's name was Shelomith, the daughter of Debri, of the tribe of Dan. And they put him inward, that the mind of the Most High might be showed them. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Bring forth him that hath cursed without the camp, and let all that heard him lay their hands upon his head, and let all the congregation stone him. And thou shalt speak unto the children of Yasharallah, saying, Whosoever curseth, his power shall bear his sin. And he that blasphemeth the name of the Most High, he shall surely be put to death. And all the congregation shall certainly stone him, as well the stranger, as he that is born in the land, when he blasphemeth the name of the Most High, shall he be put to death.
Okay, so you have the Israelitish woman's son, an Egyptian, blasphemed the Most High's name. Okay, so what happened in that situation, we did the class with the elder, he went into more details of what happened, is that Israel was trying to set up their lot within the tribe of Dan, and this young man wanted to set up his tent in the same lot as the tribe of Dan. But then the elders came to him and said, listen, you can't set up your tent over here. You have to go outside, outside our lot amongst the stranger because you're not an Israelite. So he says, the young man said, well, where do you get this from? They tell him what the Most High said that. That was the Most High law. But then the young man said, whatever to the Most High. Basically, when you go into deeper research, he said the word whatever. Okay? And whatever is a form of cursing, blaspheming the Most High name. So then they took him to Moses, and what? He was stoned to death. Okay? Sabbath day. Remember the Sabbath day. Fourth commandment. Exodus 31, verse 14 to 16. Yeah, Exodus 31, verse 14 to 16. All right, go ahead.
Okay, this is the book of Exodus, chapter 31, verses 14 through 16. Ye shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from amongst his people. 6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is a Sabbath of rest, holy to the Most High. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore the children of Yasharallah shall keep the Sabbath to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant.
For a perpetual covenant. Go ahead.
It is a sign between me and the children of Yasharallah forever. For in 6 days the Most High made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed.
So we know that at that time, if you violate the Sabbath day, you will what? Put to death. Okay? At that time. Next commandment. Honor thy father and mother, so your days will be long upon the land. Let's go to Leviticus 20 and 9. Okay, go ahead, Dad.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 20, verse 9. For everyone that curseth his father or his mother shall be surely put to death. He that curseth his father or his mother, his blood shall be upon him.
So even if you curse your father and mother, you will put what? To death. We know about the young man that the parents brought to Moses, who was rebellious. All right? We all remember what happened to him. They stoned him and put him to death. Okay? Bear with me. You're there. Okay. Number 6, thou shalt not commit adultery. Underneath it, I have also, that includes rape, incest, and bestiality. Okay? Let's go to Leviticus 10. Continue on Leviticus 20 and 10.
It's the book of Leviticus, chapter 20, verse 10. And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death.
So, if a man committed adultery with another man's wife, right? that means that the adulteress, the woman who's married to the other man, and the other man that lay with her shall come, and they both will be put to death. Not the husband. Okay? I want people understand that. All right? Because somebody a while ago told me that, yeah, the husband was put to death also. Nah. It was the man from the outside with somebody's wife put to death. Okay? That's adultery. Let's move on. Murder. Thou shalt not commit murder. Leviticus 24, 17 to 23. Yeah.
Book of Leviticus, chapter 24, verse 17 through 23. And he that killeth any man shall surely be put to death.
Mm-hmm.
And he that killeth a beast shall make it good, beast for beast.
Mm-hmm.
And if a man causeth a blemish in his neighbor, as he have done, so shall it be done to him. Breach for breach, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. As ye have caused a blemish in a man, so shall it be done to him again. And he that killeth a beast, he shall restore it. And he that killeth a man, he shall be put to death. Ye shall have one manner of law, as well for the stranger, as for one of your own country. For I am the Most High your power. And Moses spake to the children of Yasharallah that they should bring forth him that had cursed out of the camp and stone him with stones. And the children of Yasharallah did as the Most High commanded Moses.
Okay, so you see in these verses, it talked about an eye for an eye. Okay? Somebody kills someone in your family unlawfully, he gets put to death. Okay? That's with murder. All right? We're going to move on. We know no stealing, thou shalt not steal. That's the 8th commandment. Bearing false witness. Let's go to Deuteronomy 19, 15 to 21. Just getting a refresher. Said Deuteronomy 19, right? All right. 15:21.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 19, verses 15 through 21. One witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity, or for any sin, in any sin that he sinneth. At the mouth of 2 witnesses, or at the mouth of 3 witnesses, shall the matter be established.
So you got to have 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses for a matter, not 1. Go ahead.
If a false witness rise up against any man to testify against him that which is wrong, then both the men between whom the controversy is shall stand before the Most High, before the priests and the judges, which shall be in those days.
So then they'll be judged before the priests and the judges. So read, I'm going to get to that. Okay? Last commandment, number 10, covet. Thou shalt not covet any man's wife, any man's cattle, or anything of any man. Correct? So we all know that. Now, the question is, I know I went to the commandments where it was all about death. The judgment was what? Death. The punishment was what? You were put to death. Right? Okay. That's the bloom and gloom punishment and laws that if we break. Now, let's lighten up a bit. We all know about the dietary laws. You can't eat no eagle, you can't eat no hawk, you can't eat no pelicans, okay? You can't eat any pig, you can't eat any camels, you can't eat a horse, we all know that. right? You can't eat any shrimp. You can't eat any crab, any catfish, any lobster, because once you violate those laws, you're committing a sin against who? The Most High and yourself. Okay? Really yourself. Because if you eat those type of animals, those type of food, you're hurting yourself. You're going to get sick. You're going to catch all types of diseases. You're eating the dirt of the earth. Understand? Because these animals are the ones that cleanse the earth. And you don't want to put them in your system. So we all know about dietary law. If you don't, you got to go to Leviticus 23. No, not Leviticus 23. I'm sorry. Leviticus 11. Okay? All right. Now, the other topic of laws that we had in Israel is ceremony laws. Okay? We have feast days, Pentecost, first fruits, sacrifice and offering, ceremonial laws. All right? Let's go to what that's ceremonial laws you will find in Leviticus 23. But there's one particular law I want to go into. Pentecost. Okay? That's a ceremonial law. So, if you have your Apocrypha, we're going to go into the book of Tobit for a moment. Let's go to the book of Tobit, chapter 1, verse 1. Book of Tobit, chapter 1, verse 1. Hold on. Okay, if you dare, say Khan. All right, go ahead. Book of Tobit, chapter 1, verse 1 to 3.
This is the book of Tobit, chapter 1, verses 1 through 3. The book of the words of Tobit, son of Tobiel, the son of Ananiel, and the son of Abdul, the son of Gabar, of the seed of Asael, of the tribe of Naphtali.
So you know that Tobit is from the tribe of Naphtali. Khan, go ahead.
Who in the time of Anamanzer, the king of Assyrians, was led captive out of Thisbe, which is at the right hand of that city, which is called properly Naphtali in Galilee above Asser.
So this is the time when you go to 2 Kings 17, when the Assyrians came and took the northern kingdom, okay, into captivity. Okay? So Tobit was among the inhabitants that was dealing with that situation at that time. Go ahead.
I, Tobit, have walked all the days of my life in the way of truth and justice. I did many alms deeds to my brethren, and my nation, who came with me to Nineveh, into the land of the Assyrians.
So now we know that Tobit was taken into Nineveh, and the land of Assyrian. Okay? Nineveh is not in Israel. Nineveh is north of Asia Minor, Assyrian territory, pre-Babylon territory. So he was not in the land. You understand? Come on. All right. Let's jump to Tobit chapter 2, verse 1 to maybe 2. But go ahead.
Book of Tobit, chapter 2, verse 1. Now when I was come home again, and my wife Anna was restored unto me with my son Tobias in the feast of Pentecost.
Okay, so Tobit was celebrating a feast, right? Go ahead.
Which is the holy feast of 7 weeks. There was a good dinner prepared me, in which I sat down to eat. And when I saw the abundance of the meat, I said to my son, go and bring what poor man soever thou shalt find out of our brethren, who is mindful of the Most High, and lo, I tarry for thee.
Okay, so now you know that in captivity, Tobit was still doing the Most High feast. Okay? Don't let people from the outside tell you that, oh, you can't do the feast because you're not in the land. But through the book of Tobit, it shows you that he was in the land and he still did the feast. The only thing that Tobit didn't do is any sacrifices. right? Because he couldn't do no sacrifices because he was not in the land. But the offering that he did was what? He gave the rest of the meat to who? To the poor, or a brethren of his that's without. So that's his offering. You understand? So you can't do no sacrifices, but if you're going to do an offering, you offer it to who? The poor, to your brethren. All right? So we understand that. So ceremonial laws is something that we have to continue to do. Con? All right. So now, you have a few civil laws. Now, civil laws is not automatic death. Okay? Civil law will also go underneath love thy neighbor, how we interact with each other, how we deal with each other. Okay? Now, the first one is fighting. Because, you know, Israel, we fight a lot. Okay? I mean, really, it's bad with us. You know, when you look at the news and see in the street, especially the summertime, we're really bad with that. So, let's go to Exodus 21, 18 and 19. Yeah. Exodus chapter 21, 18 to 19. Go ahead.
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 21, verse 18 through 19.
Mm-hmm.
And if men strive together, and one strive another with a stone, Salakia, one smite another with a stone, or with his fist, and he die not, but keepeth his bed. If he rise again and walk abroad upon his staff, then shall he that smote him be quit. Only he shall pay for the loss of his time, and shall cause him to be thoroughly healed.
Okay, so if two guys, and we went through this before, so we gotta go through it again, because sometimes I forget. When two guys are striving together and they get into a fight, one overpowered the other. But the other, if the one that's been overpowered don't die, and he's able to walk, when it says here 19, the one that smote him quit, that means he's acquitted. There's no judgment for him. But, continue after quit.
Only he shall pay for the loss of his time.
So the person that overpowered him will pay for the loss of his time. Go ahead.
And shall cause him to be thoroughly healed.
And will cause him to be thoroughly healed. Okay? That's a law. Okay? So that's like how, how we deal with each other in that sense. Let's jump on to usury. Okay? That's another civil law. Exodus 22, 25. Yeah.
Book of Exodus, chapter 22, verse 25.
Mm-hmm.
If thou lend money to any of my people that is poor by thee, thou shalt not be to him as a usurer, neither shalt thou lay upon him usury.
Okay, so if we have any of us that are in a situation, we need a little money, we got a phone bill we're behind, and we want to go to one of our brothers or one of our sisters and say, I need to borrow some money. You can lend it to him. But you can't charge him what? Interest. Because a lot of our Israelites do that. Not Israelite among us, but Israel who's lost and sleeping. They do that. They charge you interest. But it's against the Most High law. Okay? Next civil law, borrowing. Exodus 22 and 26. And once you go to the book of Exodus 21, 22, 23, it's going to give you a lot of information about civil laws. How do you deal with people? So we're only scratching the surface this evening, okay? Go ahead, 22, 26.
Okay. It's book of Exodus, chapter 22, verse 26. If thou at all take thy neighbor's raiment to pledge, thou shalt deliver it unto him by that the sun goeth down.
So if you bought something, like a garment or any clothes or anything of a neighbor, got to return it before the sun goes down. So what's the purpose? So you won't have any what? Any offenses. Okay? It's a way of you keeping your word. All right? Restoring. It's another law. Exodus 22, 14, 15.
Book of Exodus, chapter 22, verses 14 and 15.
Mm-hmm.
If a man borrow aught of his neighbor, and it be hurt or die, the owner thereof being not with it, he shall surely make it good.
Now, what that means is, if a person borrow something of the neighbor, let's say I borrow your car, okay? And I drive it, and I get it hit, right? I'm the one that's supposed to make it good. I have to repair it. I have to pay to get it fixed. Okay? Continue to 15.
Verse 15. But if the owner thereof be with it, he shall not make it good.
So if I bought a car from you, and you're with me in the car, and I'm driving it, and I get into an accident, I'm not liable for it. You, the owner, have to pay to fix it. You understand that? Want to read it again? Because I hope I ain't making no errors with this, but go ahead, read it again.
Verse 15, but if the owner thereof be with it, he shall not make it good.
I shall not make it good. I don't have to pay. Okay, continue.
If it be a hired thing, it came for his hire. And if a man...
Okay, no, that's it.
Okay.
So if I'm a hire also for that owner, and I'm driving him, and I get into an accident on his car, I'm not liable. He has to take on that responsibility. Okay, that's a civil law. But if I borrow the owner's car and I get into an accident, I'm responsible. Okay? So, all right. Debt. Okay? Let's go to Proverbs 22 and 7. Now the laws is all over this book. It's not just in Exodus or Leviticus. It's also in Proverbs. Proverbs 22 and 7. Go ahead.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 7. The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender.
So if you borrowing from somebody, you're putting yourself in a position of servitude to that person. Okay? When you're in debt. Deaconess Patricia did a fabulous presentation concerning debt. And a lot of us, if we're in debt, we are a servant to this country until it's paid off. Okay? It's a stressful situation, right? Wouldn't you like to be free of debt? So now the Most High knew that it would be a very stressful situation for Israel. So don't put yourself in debts anymore, moving on forward after reading this. Let's jump to 1 Samuel 22 and 2. Mm-hmm. First Samuel 22 and 2. Yeah.
Read.
Wait, this is First Samuel. Yeah.
Book of 1 Samuel, chapter 22, verse 2.
Okay, you can start at 1.
Verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
David therefore departed thence and escaped to the cave of Adullam. And when his brethren and all his father's house heard it, they went down thither to him.
Okay, this is the time when David was on a run from Saul, and he went into the cave. Go ahead.
And everyone that was in distress, and everyone that was in debt.
See that? Everyone that was in distress, that was in debt. Go ahead.
And everyone that was discontented gathered themselves unto him, and he became a captain over them. And there were with him about 400 men.
Okay, so 400 men. A lot of them was in debt. So they aligned themselves with David, knowing that one day he's going to become king. And then what happens when he becomes king? Yeah, wipe away the debt clean. Okay? So that's a law. That's a civil law that put a lot of pressure on us as a people. Okay. So we covered that. Now, here's the question. Now, I went into the moral law where a lot of laws that's violated, you are put to death. Now, the question is, we know when children of Israel in the book of Numbers were murmuring at Moses, oh, Moses, we're hungry, we need food. I remember the leeks in the fish. What happened to them? They died. Moses had to do what? Fire. And kill those that was murmuring. Khan? Now, with these laws, you got to be put to death. Who is the one that puts you to death? The congregation. Okay, good. Anybody else? Huh? Yourself? How? How's yourself? You gonna kill yourself? How? Right.
So the more sin you cause upon yourself, results into death.
Right. Well, you know, you're right, because it happened to what? Judas. It happened to Judas. So he killed himself. It was too much sin. He couldn't bear it. Okay, but during that time, the judges, okay, the judges, can you imagine? Most High put men to rule to put you to death. Now, we mentioned certain parts of, certain method of death. Tell me, which one is a method of death that we discussed? Anybody? Stoning? Hanging? Decapitation. It's a good one. And what else? Including burning. Okay? You see in other movies, you see other nations doing all types of torturing and killing, and you said, man, that's wicked. But Israel was doing the same thing too, as a judgment. For righteous cause, of course. But the other nation, it was a righteous cause to them. Okay? But burning. Let's go to Leviticus 20 and 14, real quickly. Leviticus 20 and 14, I believe. Yeah. Uh-huh. Leviticus 20, verse 14 only.
Okay. Read that.
Yeah.
Book of Leviticus, chapter 20, verse 14. Now, if a man take a wife and her mother, it is wickedness. They shall be burnt with fire, both he and they, that there be no wickedness among you.
All right, so the judges was allowed to burn Israel. Our judges. Okay? So now, let's go understanding our judges. All right? Who are these men that had the power to put you to death or to put judgment on you when you violate the law? Okay? Where is it? Yeah. Let's go to Exodus 18, 13 to 27. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm there.
Okay. Verse 13.
Yeah, Exodus 18, 13 to 27. Just read it.
Book of Exodus, chapter 18, verse 13. 13 through what?
To 17. Well, to 16. Finish at 16.
Con.
Is it? Yeah.
Con. 13 through 16. And it came to pass.
No, 13, 27. I'm sorry. You're going to read that.
All right, con.
You're going to read. It's a lot of reading. Go ahead.
Con.
Everybody's there? Because he's going to read. So go ahead.
And it came to pass on the morrow that Moses sat to judge the people. And the people stood by Moses from the morning unto the evening.
All right, so we all know that Moses was the only judge at that moment. He's judging all matters. Go ahead.
And when Moses' father-in-law saw all he did to the people, he said, What is this thing that you doest to the people? Why sittest thou thyself alone, and all the people stand by thee from morning unto evening? And Moses said unto his father-in-law, Because the people come unto me to inquire of the Most High. When they have a matter, they come unto me, and I judge between one and the another. And I do make them know the statutes of the Most High and his laws.
All right, so Moses was just telling them the laws. Any matter they had, he had to go into the laws to try to fix their matter. Okay? Two guys fighting. Hey, listen, you can't. Did you hurt him? You got to heal him. You got to pay for his wages. Next, that's how he was going. Go ahead.
And Moses' father-in-law said unto him, The thing that thou doest is not good.
It's not good.
Thou wilt surely wear away, both thou and this people that is with thee. For this thing is too heavy for thee. Thou art not able to perform it thyself alone. Hearken now unto my voice. I will give thee counsel, and the Most High shall be with thee. Be thou for the people to God, to the Most High ward, that thou mayest bring causes unto the Most High. And thou shalt teach them ordinances and laws, and shalt show them the way wherein they must walk, and the work that they must do. Moreover, thou shalt provide out of all the people able men, such as fear the Most High, men of truth, hating covetousness, and place such over them to be rulers of thousands and rulers of hundreds, rulers of fifties and rulers of tens.
So he has to choose men of truth, righteous men. Because the only way that you can make a righteous discernment or righteous judgment, you yourself have to be a righteous person. You yourself have to know the laws. Okay? We'll get to that. Go ahead.
Verse 22. And let them judge the people at all seasons. And it shall be that every great matter they shall bring unto thee, but every small matter they shall judge.
Okay, so the matters that they couldn't do, Moses being the high priest at that time, goes to him. He makes the decision. But the little small matters, the little civil things, he leave it up to them. All right, go ahead.
So shall it be easier for thyself, and they shall bear the burden with thee.
Okay, so let's stop there. So Moses had to set up men on top of men, thousands upon thousands, to judge Israel, right? To be the judges. Let's jump to Deuteronomy 16, 18 to 19. It says 16, 18 and 19. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 16, verse 18 and 19. Judges and officers shalt thou make thee in all thy gates,
Okay.
which the Most High thy power giveth thee throughout thy tribes.
So yeah, each tribe's going to have judges that's going to represent them. Go ahead.
And they shall judge the people with just judgment. Thou shalt not wrest judgment. Thou shalt not respect persons.
Okay, thou shalt not rest judgment. That means twist judgment. Okay, go ahead.
Thou shalt not respect persons.
You don't be a respective person. Don't choose somebody over another person. Go ahead.
Neither take a gift.
Neither take a bribe. Go ahead.
For a gift doth blind the eyes of the wise and pervert the words of the righteous.
Okay, so as a judge, you can't take bribes because you're going to make the wrong decision now. Okay? Let's go to Exodus 22 and 9. Is it? Oh, no, that's all right. Yeah, we just get that. So you guys get the gist of the judges that the Most High, that Moses set up. Okay? Those are the men that make the decision whether you die or whether you live. Okay? So you got to understand, one of the reasons why we are coming here to learn this book, to learn these laws, is for you to make righteous judgment within this captivity. Okay? Men, you got to figure out what kind of judgment you're going to make when it comes to your family. Same thing as women. You got to be able to discern what sort of judgment when it comes to your family and your kids. We have to discern rightful judgment dealing with Israel that's not awakened. But the only way for us to do that is to go back and understand these laws. All right, Khan? I'm going to get to that. Okay. Now, so we know that Israel on its own had judges, death. But in captivity, it shifted. Okay? Once Israel went into captivity with Babylon, right, there was really no judges to judge you on death. Who became your judge now? Your captives. Your captives become your judges now. Israel has no power. Let's jump to Jeremiah 27 and 6. Jeremiah 27 and 6.
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 27, verse 6. And now have I given all these lands in the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon. My servant, and the beasts of the field have I given him also to serve him.
So now Nebuchadnezzar become the Most High what? Servant. We went over this before. All right? All those who put us in captivity are now the Most High's servant. Most High is allowing them to rule over us. Come? All right. So we understand that. Okay? So we know these laws are automatic death. We know at that time in Israel, we had judges that judged us. When we went to captivity, the rulers really didn't have that power to put us to death, to execute that. Our captors did. Understand? And we still did our feast days, but there were certain other laws that we were not able to do. Huh? All right. So, let's go to Matthew chapter 5. Of course, there's the famous Sermon on the Mount, huh? Matthew chapter 5. Let me get there. Now we're going to jump around for a particular reason in this chapter. But you're going to start at chapter 1 to 2.
Verse 1 and 2.
Yeah, verse 1 all the way to 2.
Okay. This book of St. Matthew, chapter 5, verse 1 and 2. And seeing the multitudes, he went up into a mountain, and when he was set, his disciples came unto him.
Okay, this is Christ we're talking about. Go ahead.
And he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, keep reading.
Okay, you can finish that one, and we'll jump down to 17. Go ahead.
Okay. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
Okay, so you know that's the beatitude. Jump down to 17 to 18.
Verse 17 and 18, same chapter. Think not that I've come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
So, you know, Christ said he did not come to destroy the laws of the prophet, right? He said, think not. Go ahead.
For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law.
Not one jot, not one letter, okay? Not one tittle, not one verse, not one word. Go ahead.
Till all be fulfilled.
Till all be fulfilled. Continue.
Verse 19. Wherefore, it's like, whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven.
So he should be called the least, meaning you'll be the last to be called, okay, into the kingdom of heaven. That means that you're not going to be able to rub shoulders or maybe not even see the King, Yeshua Mashiach, in the kingdom. Go ahead, but
whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom.
So the one who teach them will be called great. That means you're going to be one of the first into the kingdom. You may get a chance to see Yeshua and sit next to him on the throne. Okay? Teaching these laws. All right? Now, go to 20.
Verse 20. For I say unto you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven.
So we all know that unless your righteousness, your understanding surpass the Pharisees' understanding, who are moving basically on traditions, okay? Unless you do that, you'll be the least in the kingdom. Okay? Now, jump to 21. Let me see, is it 21? All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into some of the verses that Christ said, and I'm going to ask you to match which does it go under. Okay? Go ahead, 21.
Verse 21. Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not kill, and whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment.
Okay, so we already know. He's talking about that not to what? Commit murder. Right? And he said you will be in danger of what judgment? Death. Right? Okay. Continue.
Verse 22. But I say unto you, that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Rawchaa, shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say, thou fool, shall be in danger of the hellfire.
Okay, so now, with these two verses, this verse here, where would you put this under according to some of the laws? Huh? Love thy neighbor. Come on. That was 22. 5:22. Love thy neighbor. Because if you don't love your neighbor, then you are guilty of the judgment. Eternal death. But during that time, Christ and the disciples was under what captivity? Roman's captivity. Okay, good. We're getting there. All right. Okay, go down to verse 23, 24.
Verse 23. Therefore, if thou bring thy gift to the altar, and there rememberest that thy brother hath aught against thee, leave there thy gift before the altar and go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift.
So now he's saying that if you offended your brother, right, you get ready to what? Give a gift. What's the gift? An offering, a sacrifice. But Christ said no. Don't give your a sacrifice. Go restore with your brother first, and then you give your sacrifice. So, where would that verse fall under? Okay, you said, what you said? Okay, restoring and an offering, and sacrificing. Let's see. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 6, 4 and 5. Leviticus chapter 6, 4 to 5. Go ahead, just read it.
Book of Leviticus chapter 6 verse 4. Then it shall be, because he hath sinned and is guilty, that he shall restore that which he took
like
violently.
You said, restore. Go ahead.
He shall restore that which he took violently away, or the thing which he hath deceitfully gotten, or that which was delivered him to keep, or the lost thing which he found. Are all, keep reading?
Yeah, keep reading.
Verse 5. Are all that about which he have sworn falsely, he shall even restore it in the principal, and shall add the fifth part more thereto, and give it unto him to whom it appertaineth in the day of his trespass offering.
Okay. Go ahead.
Verse 6. And he shall bring his trespass offering unto the Most High, a ram without blemish out of the flock, with thy estimation for a trespass offering unto the priest.
Okay, so what did Christ say? Back to Matthew chapter 5, verse 23. He said to what?
Book of St. Matthew chapter 5 verse 24. Leave there thy gift.
Leave that gift. So, it's the offering. Christ is telling him that if you offend your brother, before you reconcile, go do a sacrifice. That's when Christ was still around, right? So while he was around, then that means that what? They were still doing sacrifices. Okay? Now, but we're in captivity. We can't do any sacrifices. So what would he have to do? Hosea 6 and 6.
Book of Hosea chapter 6 verse 6. For I desired mercy.
So I desire mercy.
And not sacrifice.
Not sacrifice.
And the knowledge of the Most High more than burnt offerings.
Okay, so that's what we're supposed to do in our captivity, in our situation. The Most High desire mercy. He desire grace. Okay? Then sacrifices. So Christ understands these laws. But he was just bringing it to another level. Okay? And it's so funny. If you go to Acts 14, let's jump to Acts 14, 6 to 14. Going back, talking about sacrifices. Acts chapter 6, no, Acts chapter 14, verse 6. Okay, go ahead.
It's the book of Acts, chapter 14, verse 6. They were aware of it and fled unto Lystra and Derbe, cities of Lycaonia, and unto the region that layeth round about.
So they is Paul and Barnabas that was in the city of Asia Minor, okay? Not in Israel, all right? They was out the land. Go ahead.
And there they preached the gospel, and there sat a certain man at Lystra, impotent in his feet, being a cripple from his mother's womb, who never had walked.
All right, so this Ark was born crippled. Go ahead.
And the same heard Paul speak, who steadfastly beholding him, and perceiving that he had faith to be healed, said with a loud voice, Stand upright on thy feet. And he leaped and walked. And when the people saw what Paul had done, they lifted up their voices, saying in the speech of Lycaonia, the gods are come down to us in the likeness of men. And they called Barnabas Jupiter and Paul Mercurius, because he was the chief speaker.
So now these people was calling Paul Barnabas like gods, right? Go ahead.
Then the priest of Jupiter, which was before their city, brought oxen and garlands unto the gates, and would have done sacrifice with the people.
So they start thinking that they can sacrifice. They see Paul did something miraculous, so now they want to give Paul a sacrifice. Go ahead.
Which when the apostles, Barnabas and Paul heard of, they rent their clothes.
Go ahead.
And ran in among the people crying out.
So they ran in to stop them. Okay? No, you can't do that. Now this violation they did, what would that fall under? Sacrificing the idols. What you said? Yeah, they would call them gods, and they wanted to sacrifice. Okay? But Paul and Barnabas will have no dealings with that. Okay? All right. Let's go back. Matthew 5. We're going to jump to verse 27.
Book of St. Matthew, chapter 5, verse 27. Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not commit adultery.
Thou shalt not commit adultery. We know what that goes under, right? All right. Go ahead.
But I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her, have committed adultery with her already in his heart.
So now, what would that one go under? If you lust after a woman, you already commit adultery in your heart. Covet. Okay, but the law we have here, covet. Okay, because it's going in your mind now. You're coveting. Okay? Because remember, Christ remembered David. Okay? David saw a woman, he lusted, as Christ has said, so he coveted. But then the Spirit just took him over. At the end, he did what? Committed murder. Okay, so Christ telling you, listen, don't lust, because you'll never know what the Spirit might ever take you to bring you to a different direction where you could commit murder. That happens amongst Israel. Okay? Let's go to Proverbs 6:25. We're going to come back in Matthew 5. Proverbs 6 and 25, right? Yeah, that's what I said. Go ahead. Just that one.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 6, verse 25. Lust not after her beauty in your heart, neither let her take you with her eyelids.
Okay. That's it?
Keep reading.
Wait, hold on. Yeah, no, that's it. That's it. I lost my, wait. No, go to 26. Finish 26.
Verse 26. For by means of a whorish woman, a man's brought to a piece of bread, and an adulteress will hunt for the precious life.
Yeah, so you know what? That's what lust is going to bring you. Next year, you started spending money on the whore. I mean, a whorish woman. I'm sorry. I don't offend nobody. But we already know that, okay? Okay. Let's move on. Let's jump down, verse 31.
Verse 31. But if he be found, he shall restore sevenfold. He shall
wait, no. Matthew. We're going back to Matthew 5:31. Yeah, back to Matthew 5:31. No. Matthew. Yeah, 5:31.
This book of St. Matthew, chapter 5, verse 31. It has been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. But I say unto you, that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causeth her to commit adultery. And whosoever shall marry her, that is divorced, committeth adultery.
Okay, so saying that if you put away your wife, so you could go out and fornicate and have somebody else, you all commit adultery and you're causing her to commit adultery. So we all know what this falls under, right? Adultery, right?
And whoever gets with her to commit adultery too.
Yeah, whoever gets with her commit adultery too. Yeah, of course. Okay. All right. So y'all remember the laws of adultery, right? The punishable law, right? Y'all remember it, right? Yeah. Okay. We're going to get there. All right. Let's jump down to Matthew 5, verse 36, 37.
Book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 36 and 37. Neither shalt thou swear by the head, because thou cannot make one hair white or black. But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay.
Okay. So Christ said, let your communication be yea or nay. Right? Wait, hold on. I'm kind of lost here. Yeah, go ahead, continue.
For whosoever is more than these committeth evil.
So anything in between is considered evil.
Let me read that.
Maybe that's considered evil, right? According to what Christ said. If I ask you to do something, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to think about it. That's what? That's evil. Okay, it's either a yes or no. And that's a very powerful thing. Okay? Let's go to Deuteronomy. So now, hold on. What would this fall under? Blasphemy. Okay, and keeping the Lord's name in vain. All right? That's what it fall under. So let's go to Deuteronomy 23, 21, 22 for a second. Three, 21, 22. Yeah.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 23, verse 21 and 22. 21 and 22, right?
Yeah.
Verse 21. When thou shalt vow a vow unto the Most High thy power, thou shalt not slack to pay it.
That means if you make a vow, you got to do it. You have to do it. Even if you tell somebody you're going to do something, you're making a vow. All right? Don't think you're just telling them something that they just want to hear. Okay? Go ahead.
Go ahead. For the Most High thy power will surely require it of thee, and it would be sin in thee.
See, it's a sin. Christ said, let your yea be yea and your nay be nay. So you want to transgress this law. Okay? All right, so. Okay, now. Let's go to John 8, 1 to 17. So now, you know, I expanded on certain laws, so you guys are all law class 101. Now you're going to be tested. John chapter 8. We're going to go to verse 1 all the way to 17. But after 3, we're going to make a break, yeah. All right, when you did say Khan? Okay, let's go.
Book of John, St. John, chapter 8, verse 1 through 17. Yeshua went unto the Mount of Olives, and early in the morning he came again into the temple, and all the people came unto him, and he sat down and taught them.
So Yeshua went to the temple, and he was teaching. Okay? We get that. Go ahead.
And the scribes and Pharisees brought unto him a woman taken in adultery. And when they had set her in the midst, they...
Okay, now the scribe, you know, is what? A writer. The Pharisees are one of the teachers, one of the judges, or it could be one of the lawyers. Let me show you. Go ahead.
Verse 4. They say unto him, Master, this woman was taken in adultery in the very act.
Now, Christ is in the temple teaching, and here comes these guys coming with this woman, asking him, what should we do with this woman? Why are they coming to Christ? We all know to tempt him, but why are they coming to him? Is there a relationship between them and Christ? There is a relationship between them and Christ. Let me show you. Let's jump to Luke 14, 1 and 3 for a moment. Luke 14. There, Luke 14, what's that? Yeah, 1. Read that, I'll tell you when to stop. Okay. Go ahead.
Book of Luke, St. Luke, chapter 14, verse 1. And it came to pass, as he went into the house of one of the chief Pharisees.
Now, who's he? Christ, right? Christ, go ahead.
One of the chief Pharisees to eat bread on the Sabbath day, and they watched him.
So he went to one of the house of a chief Pharisee on the Sabbath day by himself. The disciples were not with him. What kind of relationship is that? Go ahead, continue.
And behold, there was a certain man before him which had the dropsy.
Okay, the dropsy is an illness, a skin disease. Go ahead.
And Yeshua answering spake unto the lawyers.
Oh, so who was there also at this dinner? Lawyers. Go ahead.
And Pharisees.
And Pharisees.
Saying, is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath day? And they held their peace. And he took him and healed him and let him go. And answered them, saying, which of you shall have a donkey or an oxen falling into a pit, and will not straightway pull him out on the Sabbath day? And they could not answer him again to these things.
Okay, so they couldn't answer him. So there's a relationship between Christ and these Pharisees and lawyers. Okay? We got to remember that Christ and these Pharisees all learned the law at the same schools. Okay? That's why they call him master, out of respect. But the only difference is the issue they have with him is his doctrine. Okay? That's the issue they have with him. He's not talking the same doctrine as they are. They want to stick to Moses' law. But he's come with something else that they can't understand. So he's given to the disciples and for us to understand how to exceed their righteousness. That's what we call the spirit of the law. Okay? Let's jump back to John 8. So we know the relationship between them, right? Okay. Let's go back to John 8. Let me get there. All right. John 8, I left off at 3. Go ahead, 3.
Book of St. John, chapter 8, verse 3.
Go
And
ahead.
the scribes and Pharisees brought unto him a woman taken in adultery. And when he had set her in the midst, they said unto him, Master, this woman was taken in adultery in the very act.
In the very act, go ahead.
Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned.
Okay, they're going to this law, right? Go ahead.
But what sayest thou? This they said, tempting him, and that they might have to accuse him. But Yeshua stooped down, and with his finger wrote on the ground, as though he heard them not.
So they tempted him to see if they might accuse him. Accuse him of what? We'll get to it. Go ahead.
Verse 7. So when they continued asking him, he lifted up himself and said unto them, He that is without sin among you, let him first cast a stone at her.
So Christ is saying, well, okay, according to the law of Moses, go ahead. She's supposed to be stoned. But any of you, lawyers or judges, are without sin, cast the first stone. They wasn't expecting that, right? Go ahead.
Verse 8. And again, he stooped down and wrote on the ground. Verse 9. And they which heard it, being convicted by their own conscience, went out one by one, beginning at the eldest, even unto the last. And Yeshua was left alone, and a woman standing in the midst. Verse 10. When Yeshua had lifted up himself and saw none but the woman, he said unto her, Woman, where are those thine accusers?
Okay, where are those accusers? Where are those judges? Go ahead.
Have no man condemned thee? She said, No man, Lord. And Yeshua said unto her, Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more.
So Christ said, go and sin no more. Christ saved her from being stoned by them. Now, here's the question. Why were they trying to tempt Christ? Which one was it? Accuse Christ. Read 6 again, verse 6.
Verse 6, St. John chapter 8, verse 6. This they said, tempting him, that they might have to accuse him.
Okay, so what were they trying to accuse him of? Because they already placed judgment on her. So what do you need him for to accuse? Patrick? To go in against the law. Okay, now suppose Christ decide, okay, yeah, stone her. They're accusing him of what? Oh, okay. Oh, you moving ahead. Moving ahead now. Okay. Oh, but you said, Dimitri? They could accuse him of contradiction of his doctrine. Okay? So whichever way, they're trying to get him. Now, he said to them, which one of you are without sin cast the first stone? None of them did it. So what sin could they have committed according to the law? And tell me what law? Okay, adultery, but what else? Who said? False witness. How? Because what? Who was not there? Wait, okay, so you're saying the Pharisees was not there to witness, but they said they caught her in the very act. Ah, that's the thing. Okay. Jenny? Right, where's the man? Okay, so we all know that the law is if somebody commit adultery, you would bring both the adulteress and the adulterer, right? So Christ is saying their sin was, well, they didn't bring the other man, right? Just like you said, right? Why didn't they bring the other man? It could be a bribe. Okay? Who could have bribed him? Who's doing the bribing? The adulterer, right? So the adulterer bribed the Pharisees, right? So he got caught in the act. So what the adulterer did, pay them off. Don't bring me, just bring her. But they didn't think Christ knew that, right? Okay. That's against the law. They took bribery. So now, during those times, right, this is what I believe. In order for you to bribe somebody, you got to be well off. Okay? You got to be wealthy. During that time, it was the Pharisees and lawyers that were wealthy. How do we know it wasn't one of them? Or one of their brethren? Okay? All right, hold your comments out. Okay? How do we know it's not one of them or one of their brethren? Because you got to be well off to bribe somebody. That's a big bribe. You're going to accuse somebody to be put to death. You know what I mean? So you got to put some money down for this. You see what I'm getting at? So Christ know them. Christ seen their dealing and wheeling. But they try to tempt it, try to test it. They try to get him involved in their blood. But he outsmarted them. Okay? Good, you guys paid attention. I knew what law it was. Okay? So, Christ saved the girl. He also saved them too. Because they're also guilty of death. But you see, the whole thing is, now these Pharisees were still in a position under captivity to carry out Moses' law. So the Most High had to send Christ at that time. Okay? Because remember, prior to Christ, 500 before then, under Greek captivity, Roman captivity, there was a lot of unjust killing. The Pharisees was operating almost like back in Jeremiah days, in Ezekiel days, like the Levites and the princes, violating the Most High commandments and doing unjust killing. Yeshua couldn't come at a proper time. And then he came and he saved the girl and saved them, and he told her, sin no more. What did he give her? Grace. He showed her mercy. Okay? Christ gave her mercy and grace. So, we got to understand that now, when the scripture said that we are not under the law, right? It's correct. We're not under this law, these laws. Because if we're under them, your punishment is death. But because we're in captivity, we can't be underneath this law because we got what? Captors. So Christ was calling them out saying that you guys cannot judge. Christ was the only judge. Okay? And at the time what he was doing is he was teaching disciples how to make righteous judgments underneath this captivity. Okay, so the same as we. Making righteous judgment. But that doesn't mean that we should understand the law of Moses, because we here still got to know the laws that we can't follow, that we can't do, still got to know them. And the laws that we can't follow. You still have a plethora of civil laws that do apply to us, that we need to look into, that we need to study. Okay? Because we want to be confused that just because we're not under the law, that we shouldn't study the law. Because if you study it, you, as in this body, who's going to be the light of the world, you're going to make righteous judgment. That's why you're here. So when you go out there in the world, in this captivity, you could be able to make righteous judgments. But the only way you can make righteous judgment is for you to understand the law so it could change you. Okay? And also right now, you know, our plight, our situation, we don't have our own people judging us. We have the powers that be. Because if you commit some of these crimes, you know, you go through the due process, a lot of them is capital punishment. A lot of them is death. But with the Most High, our punishment is still our curses. Just because we're not dying or if we commit adultery or fornication, that this is not happening to us. But you know what? You go to Deuteronomy 28, the whole chapter, then you're going to see something that relates to you. You probably find 7 things in that chapter that relates to you. Okay? 7 minimal. Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Hold on, let's say something. So, Christ was the testimony of the old law to give Israel at that time and in the future an understanding. Because you know what? The law is perfect. Which law? Put a question mark. Okay? I can't choose which law. But I have to know all the law. And know the law that I can't do. Can't do no sacrifices, because you know what? We're not in the land. But I can follow the feast days. That's the law. Let's end it here. Go to Psalms 19. I'm sure everybody will know this one. Psalms 19 and just verse 1. Go ahead.
Verse 1.
Wait, hold on. 7, yeah.
Come on.
Psalm 19, verse 7.
Book of Psalms, chapter 19, verse 7.
Mm-hmm.
The law of the Most High is perfect.
The law of the Most High is perfect. Which law? All of them. Right? It does what?
Converting the soul.
Converting your soul. Continue.
The testimony of the Most High is sure, making wise the simple.
So once your soul is converted through the law, your wisdom is just going to be something simple to others. Okay? Your understanding is going to be greater to others. Okay? So, in a nutshell, you know, all praise to the Most High. I just wanted to go into the Lord this evening and try to, you know, understand when Christ met with the Spirit of the law and the law of the Most High. They're all intertwined. Okay? And we should know them and we should study them. All right, Khan? All right, all praises. Okay. We're going to move on to any first-time visitors. Oh, I'm sorry. Questions. Sorry. Anybody got any questions?
Questions?
Hey, so Jenny, take it easy on me, Jenny. I don't know how you get there.
Shalom.
Shalom.
My first question is, what were the requirements to become a judge?
Oh, good question. Good question. What were the requirements to become a judge? Even today, what is the requirement for a deacon or an officer? Because right now, in this position, we're the body's judges. Because the body have, things that they're going through, issues, and what do? You come to us or you go to the elder or the deacon for what? Counseling, right? So what is our requirement? Let's see what, I think it's in, we can try Deuteronomy 1:17. Is it that? All right, 17, but you can start at 15.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1, verse 15.
Mm-hmm.
So I took the chief of your tribes, wise men, and known, and made them heads over you, captains over thousands, and captains over hundreds, and captains over fifties, and captains over tens, and officers among your tribes.
Mm-hmm.
And I charge your judges at that time, saying, hear the cause between your brethren, and judge righteously between every man and his brother,
Mm-hmm.
and the stranger that is with him.
Mm-hmm.
Ye shall not respect persons in judgment.
Okay, you can't be a respectable person.
But ye shall hear the small as well as the great.
Mm-hmm.
Ye shall not be afraid of the face of man.
Okay.
For the judgment is the Most High.
Okay, you cannot be afraid of men. Go ahead.
And the cause that is too hard for you, bring it unto me, and I will hear it. Keep reading.
Okay, yeah, so I'm going to go someplace else. So the other thing, too, all right, you got to remember, during that time of Christ, the Pharisees was doing the position of the heads, the chief, right? But they had a high priest at that time. Even though we know Christ was, John the Baptist was the high priest until he passed in Christ. But they had a high priest, and that high priest was who? Caiaphas. So whatever situation or matter that they couldn't handle, they would take it to Caiaphas. And that's what they did with Christ. Because you see, they couldn't handle Christ. So they took him to who? To the high priest. They're the one that made the judgment to crucify him. Con? Okay. Let's, because I think I had it too. Let's go to, I think Exodus 18, no, we went through that. Yeah, we did that. I think Exodus 22 and 9, let's check there, because the requirements.
No, that's not.
Yeah, go ahead.
22 and 9?
Yeah, Exodus.
Exodus chapter 22, verse 9.
Mm-hmm.
For all manner of trespass, whether it be for ox, for donkey, for sheep, for raiment, or for any manner of lost thing, which another challengeth to be his, the cause of both parties shall come before the judges, and whom the judges shall condemn, he shall pay double unto his neighbor. Keep reading.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, that's not it. Yeah, that's not it. I had written down the qualification. Well, look, the qualification of being a judge is what? Moses had to choose wise men, as it said in Exodus 18. All right? Matter of fact, let's go there real quickly. Exodus 18 and 13. Not 13, we're going to go down. 21, come on. Exodus 18, 21.
18,
yeah, there you go. Exodus 18, 21.
Book of Exodus chapter 18, verse 21.
Mm-hmm.
Moreover, thou shalt provide out of all the people able men.
We have to be able men.
Such as fear the Most High.
We got to fear the Most High.
Men of truth.
We got to speak truth.
Hating covetousness.
We got to hate covetousness. If you're a judge and you're in that position, you can't covet. Okay? You can't like a nice car or a nice house. Okay, go ahead.
And place such over them to be rulers of thousands and rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s and rulers of 10s.
Okay, so that's the most important factors of being a judge. Okay? And that's the same thing as us as deacons and officers. We have to fear the Most High. Right? We got to speak truth. That's why we got to stay in His laws to help us speak truth. And we can't be covetous. Okay? All right.
Second question, I'm almost done.
Okay.
Do you think that the judges and Christ would have like grown up together because they went to school together? So
Yes.
Together their whole life.
Yes, they did. And that's another part on another lesson I'm putting together, and it's in the Josephus. Okay? Because they have schools for the priests and the princes, the heads, to go learn the law. Okay? Christ went to the school. There's a parallel between Christ and Josephus. Okay? I'm just going to say something real quick about Josephus. Josephus, he was a Levite, right? At the age of 17, he had a choice to choose a school. So all the different sects had their own school. But he chose the sect of the Pharisees and went to study underneath them. At that time, there were Essenes. There were Sadducees. Okay? And the Sadducees, that sect, they didn't believe in resurrection. But Christ knew of resurrection. Okay? But I believe Christ went to all the schools. Okay? But, there was a school for them to learn so they could have, just like right now, our judges and lawyers have to go to law school and understand the law so they could judge righteously. So, he went to school,
Thank you. And then my last comment is actually it reminded me of what you said in the history of Susanna and the Apocrypha, where there were two elders that bared false witness on Susanna and tried to sleep with her. And when she said no, they said, we're going to lie and say that you were with a man. And that's the same thing that you were saying. So it made me think maybe that's something they were doing.
Okay, yes. Yes, and I think that's when I think Daniel was a young man at that time, right? Right. Okay, Daniel was a young man at that time that stood up for her. Okay? All right, we understand that. And also, just to let you know, sometimes you wonder who are the Pharisees and the lawyers. When you go into Josephus, you'll find that for each lot of Israel, you had 7 judges were representing the 10 tribes, and you had to have 2 Levites, okay, with them. Why? They were the priests, but why does the priest have to be judges? Because they judge according to the law. The Levites had the law. Okay? So all the chief and princesses had to go to the Levite and get the understanding of the law to deal with a matter. Okay? But that's in the Josephus. That's a different lesson that, working on. All right, any more questions?
Yeah, quick question. Praise the Most High for the lesson, timely lesson. It's more or less trying to confirm something, because in the beginning of the lesson, it was saying if you kill a beast, you have to restore it. So that's restoring to its owner, right?
Con.
All right, I just wanted to make sure, because at first I was like, how do you restore a dead animal? But then I was like, you know what? I thought about it. I was like,
you got to restore the animals. I think there's scriptures where you got to restore 2 animals for the killing of 1. Okay? But we don't have animals, so that's why I use the car, because they use the animal as a transportation. So we have a car nowadays. So remember, if you're driving somebody's car, pray that you don't get in no accident. Or pray that they're in the car with you. Okay? Any more questions? All right, all praises. Let's give the Most High praises. One more question.
Visitors.
All right, also like to thank Tithes and Offerings for reading. Since Tithes and Offerings, for those who don't know, is the reader. Okay. So I will yield this to Officer.
No, visitors.
Yeah.
Visitors?
Yeah, but I yield it to Hazak first, and he do the visitors. All right, Hazak. Let's go. Officer Hazak.
Once again, Shabbat Shalom. Praise the Most High for a great lesson. I'm happy to see everybody in the room tonight. So now, who just screamed that out? Visitors. That was Nazar? Oh. We're going to move right on to visitors. Anybody here in this building for the first time? We'd like to greet you. State your name, your address. Not your address. But your name, who bought you, and most importantly, why are you here?
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I'm Sister Hadassah, and I'm here with my mother, Sister Yalama, and we're here visiting from Cairo, Egypt.
From Egypt. Okay, praise the Most High.
Praise the Most High.
Definitely, we're happy to have you.
Praise the Most High.
Definitely, all praises. We hope we see you guys again. Just take a flight. It's not that hard. But praise the Most High.
Praise the Most High.
Definitely praise the Most High. Who invited you guys, by the way?
We were invited by Brother Jimmy.
Brother Jimmy. Okay, Brother Jimmy doing the works. Okay. Praise the Most High. Would your mother like to say? Would you like to say anything? Okay.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
All praises to the Most High, Higher, by Hashem Yeshai Rawchaa. I'm just very blessed to be here this evening, here with my daughter Hadassah. My name is Sister Ayalama. I get up at 3 o'clock every morning, every Wednesday, Thursday to watch the class with you live.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
It's
it's
3
a
in the morning
blessing
over
for
there?
me. Yes.
Praise the Most High.
It's a blessing to be here to worship the Most High with you tonight. I'm also here by the welcome of Brother Jimmy Garcia.
God, praise the Most High. Well, you guys are family. You guys are here. You guys are always welcome. We thank you guys for coming in. You know, I guess that's like the furthest visitors we ever had before. Straight from Egypt? Okay, let's do this. Anybody else? Anybody else would like to greet them? Would like to greet you? Everybody else? I guess everybody here is friends and families of the Most High. And after we pray out, right, real quick, I know everybody's looking in the back, looking at the food, getting prepared. But before we go and scurry and get food, I want to share some words with, all the baptized members in the room. Khan? Real quick, right before we get into the festivities. So we're going to move right along. We're going to do some praise and worship. Brother Yaquar. All right. I gotta get a name for y'all. We gotta come up with a name for these brothers, man. Don't worry, we gonna get y'all. The G.O.C.C. men's. Just leave it right there. All right. Con, let's get into some praise and worship before we close the Shabbat with the family online.
Shalom, shalom. Y'all know what time it is. Come on. Yeah. Do we need the beat? Come on, let's give this praise to the Most High. Everybody stand up on your feet. Yeah. Because he gave us 6 days to labor and work, but he sanctified this day to give him all the praise, all the glory.
That's right, come on.
So we're going to give him the most sanctified praise, the most best praise in our heart. Oh, hold on. See, y'all getting, oh, okay. Let's go. You can't get Israel charged up like that and not put the beat on. Come on. Come on. Hold on. So what we're going to do is bless the Most High with all our heart and all our soul. Come on and bless the Lord with me. 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 Everybody sing. Come on and praise the higher. Give him all your praise. Lift your hands and praise him. Come on and clap your hands with me. Come on and clap your hands with me. Everybody clap your hands, come on. Your hands with me. Come on and clap your hands with me. Everybody sing. Come on and praise the higher. Give him all your praise. Lift your hands and praise him. What we gonna do now, Israel? We're gonna dance before the Lord. Come on and dance before the Lord. Y'all can dance better than that. Come on. Dance before the Lord. Y'all Yasharala, y'all got rhythm. Dance before the Lord. Praise the higher. Come on and praise the higher. Praise the higher. Give him all your praise. Come on and praise the higher. Come on and bless the Lord with me. 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 Come on, everybody sing it. Praise the higher. Come on and praise the higher. Praise the higher. Give him all your praise. Praise the higher. Lift your hands and praise him. Praise the higher. Straight praise the higher. Come on. Praise the higher. Come on, praise the higher. Praise the higher. Praise his holy name. Praise the higher. Lift your hands and praise him. Praise the higher. He deserves all the praise. Praise the higher. What's his name? What's his name? What's his name? Praise the higher. Come on, everybody sing. Praise the higher. Praise the higher. All praises to a higher by Shem Yeshaya Wawawakadash. Oh, one more. Another one. See, I'm going to tell on Hazak. Hazak was about to turn everything off. He said, hold on. What's going on, Hazak, man? These beats, man. You like a heart that's not alive. No beats. No. Come on, let's.
We don't need no music.
All right. I hope so. Come on. Let's lift our hands one more time and bow our heads and give him that praise to the most highest God, the true creator of heaven and earth, the power of Israel, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Come on. We lift our hands in the sanctuary. We lift our hands and give you the glory. We lift our hands and give you the praise. And we will praise you for the rest of our days. Yes, we will praise you for the rest of our days. Come on. We're going to praise him for the rest of the days until Yeshua comes back, and we're going to praise him again in the kingdom that comes. Come on. Lift our hands in the sanctuary. We lift our hands to give you the glory. We lift our hands to give you the praise. And we will praise you for the rest of our days. Yes, we will praise you for the rest of our days. Come on. We're about to go it up and turn it up a notch. So y'all stick with us. We're going to clap our hands. We clap our hands in the sanctuary. We clap our hands to give you the glory. We clap our hands to give you the praise. And we will praise you for the rest of our days. Yes, we will praise you for the rest of our days. We give you the praise, Emmanuel. We lift up your name, Son of a higher, coming Messiah. And we will praise you for the rest of our days. Yes, we will praise you for the, one more time, a higher. No, Yeshua, we give you the praise, Emmanuel. We lift up your name, Son of a higher, coming Messiah. And we will praise you for the rest of our days. Yes, we will praise you for the rest of our days. Now it's yes. Come on. Come on, sopranos. Yes. It's only one tenors right here. Come on, we got to do it. Yes, Lord, for the rest of our days. Yes, everybody. If you were full subjected to the Most High, what are you going to say? Yes, Lord, for the rest of our days. Come on. Yes. All right, y'all sounding good right now. Yes, Lord, for the rest of our days. Yes, if the Most High wants you to pray to him every single day, what are you going to say? Yes, Lord, come on. For the rest of our days. Yes. If the Most High wants you to confess Yeshua Christ, what are you going to do? Yes, Lord, for the rest of our days. Yes, if the Most High wants you to love your neighbor and help your neighbor, you will say? Yes, Lord. Go ahead. For the rest of our days. Yes. Yes, Lord, for the rest of our days. Yes. Yes, Lord, for the rest of our days. And we will praise you for the rest of our days. Praise the higher, man. Yes. All right. One little secret. I'm going to tell on Hazak again. Hold on.
You ready? Oh, I'm gonna lead you. So full praise and worship, brothers and sisters. Bowing your heads, closing your eyes, raising your hands, and getting that connection with the Most High. So, I need you. You need me. We're all a part of God's body. Stand with me. Stand with me. Agree with me. We're all a part of God's body. It is His will that every need be supplied. Brought unto me. I need you to survive. All important to me. I need you to survive. Come on, I won't harm you. I pray for you, you pray for me. I love you, I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you, I need you to survive. Is His will that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I need you to survive. You are important, so important to me. I need you to survive. This is the body of Yeshua Christ under subjection of a higher. All praises be to a higher. Let's stay in the spirit of praise and humbleness and meekness. Let's stay in this spirit. So when we go into this prayer, it's a fruitful prayer. It's a sincere prayer. It's a prayer that will reach the ears of the Most High.
Let us all face our homeland, Jerusalem.
Everybody, in sincerity and truth, in spirit and truth, let us pray to the Most High and give Him all the worship and praise and glory that He deserves. In this 6 days out of this week, I know it's been hard. I know we had trials and tribulations, but we're here now worshiping Him on His Sabbath day. And when we was in the world, we didn't even know what the Sabbath was, some of us. But we're here now worshiping Him in spirit and truth, and not only in spirit and truth, under subjection of His Son, Yeshua Christ. Heavenly Father, Ahaya Shah Ahaya, as we come before you as your humble servants, we're here to petition to you names of our brothers and sisters, asking for you to bless them and heal them. Barak Rapah, Brother Nazar. Barak Rapah, Wesleyan family. Barak Rapah, Pierre Lafontaine and family. Barak Rapah, Martha and Rita Baptiste. Barak Rapah, Samantha Baptiste. Barak Rapah, Craig Maddox. Barak Rapah, Dana and Amari Thomas. Barak Rapah, Brother Demetrius for healing. Barak Rapah, Cassandra. Barak Rapah, Pauline Claxton. Barak Rapah, Roden Claxton. Barak Rapah, Dexter Claxton. Barak Rapah, Sybil Claxton. Barak Barak Rapah, Pauline Sage. Barak Rapah, Brother Ant. Barak Rapah, Deacon Shamal. Barak Rapah, David Field. Barak Rapah, Edward Galvin and the Reyes family. Barak Rapah, Sister Nikisha. Barak Rapah, Brother Holland. Barak Rapah, the Gomes family. Barak Rapah, the Dupree family. Barak Rapah, Claude T. Boston. Barak Rapah, Sister Asian family. Barak Rapah, Delroy Riley and David Riley. Barak Rapah, Lois Williams and family. Barak Rapah, Levi Clark. Barak Rapah, Betty Ralph. Barak Rapah, Sister Nana Beverly. Barak Rapah, Brother Azan. Barak Rapah, Brother Yasad. Barak Rapah, Brother Stephen. Barak Rapah, Sister Kashena. Barak Rapah, Sister China. Barak Rapah, Sister Shaquat. Barak Rapah, St. Fleur and Jerome family. Barak Rapah, Verda Thomas and family. Barak Rapah, Jean Paul, family and friends. Barak Rapah, Siobhan White. Barak Rapah, Akeem White. Barak Rapah, Cornell Satterwhite. Barak Rapah, Sister Kim and family. Barak Rapah, Sister Amen family. Barak Rapah, Sister Amani and family. Barak Rapah, G.O.C.C. Worldwide. Barak Rapah, Jessica Blake and family. Barak Rapah, Sister Gerdine Jean Pierre. Barak Rapah, Ayalama. Dear Heavenly Father, Ahaya Shah Ahaya, glory, honor, and praise be unto your holy name. For you are the true God that is the creator of heaven and earth. You are the God that keeps covenants, promises. For you have not forsaken the children of Israel, Heavenly Father. We all thank you here today, Heavenly Father, for washing us away from our sins and giving us a second chance, Heavenly Father. This world, we know this world is about to be gone, but we are trying to prepare ourselves for the kingdom that is coming. Heavenly Father, show us the righteous paths. Show us how to clean our hearts. Show us how to remove the wicked thoughts out of our minds, Heavenly Father. For we are trying to be perfect as you are perfect, Heavenly Father. We know that we are nothing, but we know that with you, we could be many things. We could be that great vessel for you, to put forth your righteousness on the earth, because Heavenly Father, there's nothing but wickedness on the earth. Heavenly Father, we are available to you. Heavenly Father, we believe in you. Everybody repeat after me. Heavenly Father, Ahaya Shah Ahaya. We believe in your power. We believe in your power. We believe in your son Yeshaya. We believe in your son Yeshaya. And we believe in through your son Yeshaya. We believe in through your son Yeshaya. All things are possible. All things are possible. So Heavenly Father, after this manner we pray to you, our Father, who art in heaven, holy be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from all evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever and ever. Shemai Yasharala Ahaya Alahayanawa Ahaya Akkad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God. Ahaya 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 is one. Aman.
praises to the Most High. At this time, we want to just give hold on 1 second, brothers and sisters, for the announcements in one moment. But for those brothers and sisters online, just want to say Shabbat Shalom, Barak Atah, Barak Rapah to all those who endured this last 6 days, who may be facing any trials, and joined us tonight and received this warm lesson given by our brother and Officer Wildorf. We want to say the water for joining in. And Barak Atah, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you tuned in to GOCC Brooklyn. So we want to give you a Shabbat Shalom and Barak Atah.
Shalom and Barakathon, peace and blessings. We are the Gathering of Christ Church, New York City, a family who adheres to the sacred laws of the earth administered to Christ down to his father's children of Israel, whom are scattered abroad. We would like to invite you to join us in our law classes, which are held every Sabbath beginning at 1 p.m. during the winter season and 2 p.m. during the summer season, under the tutelage of Regional Elder Gabar and leadership. Since nations are built on families, our focus is to awaken our people, bring them back to their original heritage which was once forgotten, and to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments, together as one under Christ. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one.